My name is Kunal. Welcome to the course of C programming. Well, programming is one of the very good jobs because in programming you are the boss. Programming is all about getting work done from a computer. So if I want to get my work done from computer, I need to know programming. Let's see how, right? Let's get to a very basic example. Very basic example. You are a boss and you have an employee, okay, who reports to you. You want to get work done from this employee. What will you do? To get work done from this employee, you will pass instructions to this employee. Hey, do this. Hey, get me a coffee. Hey, get me a pizza, right? So you are going to pass instructions to this employee, and this employee is going to get the work done and report back to you. Now, to give these instructions, you are going to use a language, maybe English. You are passing instructions in English or any language that you choose, right? So you are passing instructions and you need a language, as simple as that. Let's make this situation a bit complicated, right? You are the boss and you want to get work done from a pig. Oh wow. So you want to get work done from a pig. Then what will you do? You will pass instructions to the pig. Well, there is a risk, right? There's a risk that pig will not understand what you're speaking. So pig will not understand these instructions and keep going in an opposite direction. What will you do in such a case, right? How can you get the work done from a pig? The only solution that you might implement is you might hire a coach. A coach for a pig who will maybe train the pig and communicate with the pig actually. So you will pass what you need to the coach. Coach will give instructions to the pig. Pig will report to the coach and coach will report to you. That is like a simplest way of getting work done from a pig, right? That's the only thing that you can do probably. And you will find a coach in some circus, I think. Okay, don't worry, you don't have to get work done from a pig in this subject. You have to get work done from computer in this subject. So if you want to get work done from computer, then you need what? You need a language that computer understands. The language that computer understands is programming language. And you are the boss. Boss don't know anything. So boss does not know the programming language. So what will the boss do? Boss will hire a programmer, right? A boss will hire a programmer who can give instructions to the computer. Computer will do its job as per the instructions that are given by the programmer. What boss will do is just give requirements. Boss will just give requirements to the programmer. According to that, programmer will code the instructions for the computer. Such a set of instructions that are coded by the programmer for a computer is called as program. So what is program? Program is set of instructions that computer understands in a language which is programming language. As simple as that. What are we going to do? We are going to learn a programming language in this subject, and C is one of the programming languages that we are going to learn. So we will learn C programming language in this subject so that we can pass instructions to the computer in C. Computer performs its job and gives us the result. Alright? Cool. What's C language? C language, right? Let's understand how C works, right? So your programmer, right? The programmer that was hired is going to code instructions. Code in the sense he's going to type, right? So all the instructions he will type maybe in some editor that's offered by the computer, maybe Notepad or maybe some better editor especially designed for C. We'll type these instructions. After these instructions are typed, right, is this programmer a pig? No. The programmer is a very intelligent human being, but he has understood a language and typed that language. So programmer can type only English like languages. Like, he's a pig. He's if he, like, he's not a pig, right? Sorry. He's not a pig, right? He is a human being, so he can only like understand natural languages, English like languages, the language we speak. C is an English like language which this human being understands. That is called as high level language. But look at the processor, right? I could not even draw it. I just used some image that I could like find looks like a complex circuit, right? So processor is a complex circuit that understands open circuit, closed circuit, open circuit, closed circuit, closed circuit, closed circuit, open circuit, closed circuit, right? So it's an electronic device that understands this language of machines, right? Wires, open, close, switches, right? So we represent that with zeros and ones. So processor only understands low level language. What you need, right? You need somebody who translates this high level language into this low level language. You need some software actually, because now everything is in the computer system. You have typed the program in the computer system using an editor. Now you need a software that will translate high level language to low level language so that this electronic device performs its job. Let's summarize. The software that you need for C language is called as C compiler. C compiler takes in high level language, that's C, and translates that into low level language, that's machine language. So what's the programmer doing? Once again, the programmer is typing in C, so it's coding. This is the C code, right? A C code is set of instructions. These C code, like this C code, which is set of instruction, is English, right? Certain English keywords, right, that we have to learn in this subject, right? How to code C, yeah, that we have to learn in this subject, right? That's why this recording. This high level C is compiled by the compiler, converted into a low level language. It's also called as executable language. Apologies for the spelling. Executable language. So executable language, right, all it needs is .exe file. All the processor needs is like a .exe file, and that exe file is an executable, that's a machine language that the processor understands. All programmer creates is a .c file. So you have a p1.c file in which you have C code, and then the compiler generates p1.exe, which is the executable code, which is actually the machine language. And compiler is a software. Yeah, every language has a different compiler, right? If you're coding with C, then you have a C compiler. If you're coding with Java, then you have a Java compiler. Let's not talk about Java. So this is a C language. We are C course. We need a C compiler. Cool. Before we give anything to the compiler, we must understand rules of C. If you don't code C correctly, the compiler will not translate that into a machine language correctly. What are the rules of C? If you want to write some constants, you want to understand rules about constants, right? Integer constant. An integer constant is a constant without any decimal point. So without any decimal point, yeah, 10, 1000, all these are valid integer constants. 99 minus 876, yeah, it can be a signed or unsigned, right, a positive or negative, but no decimal point. C says, I will allow you to write such constants. That's the first rule of C. Floating point constants, they are constants with decimal point. If you got to write a constant with decimal point, right, then you use a floating point constant. 71.96, yeah, you have a decimal point. Minus 88.71, yeah, it allows positive and negative. C says if you got to write number with a decimal point, then you have to use this floating point constants, right? Character constants. Character constants, right, is a single symbol enclosed in single quotes. It has to be exactly one symbol in single quote. For example, A, but no, in single quotes. So it becomes a character constant. B, O, but with single quotes. Then it becomes a character constant. 1, what is 1? Oh, 1 is an integer. 1 is an integer. Look. But 1 in single quotes becomes a character constant. A, B. Oh. A, B in two symbols. Oh, wrong. A, B in, well, A and B are two symbols. They are not one symbol, right? You cannot have two symbols in single quotes. You can just have one symbol in single quotes. 1, integer constant. 10, integer constant. Single quotes. Oh, wrong. You cannot have two symbols in single quotes. You can just have one symbol in single quotes. So these are the rules of, these are like 3 rules I just wanted to mention. Integer constants, a number without a decimal point. Floating constants, a number with a decimal point. Character constants, a single symbol with a single quote. Yeah, let's move on. What are these constants, right? These constants eventually land up in memory, in RAM. So this is your memory, RAM. You may have 8 GBs of memory or whatever, right? So in this RAM, eventually these constants are going to get landed up. Before you could push any constant in RAM, you must reserve some space in RAM. Right, you must reserve some space. Oh, well, you have 8 GBs of RAM. Acknowledge, you're a rich guy. You have a big 8 GB RAM with you. But you must reserve some space for this constant within your RAM, right? That reserving space or holding space, right? Placeholder in RAM. You need a placeholder in RAM. That placeholder in RAM is called as a variable. So let's create a variable, right? So int a, what is int a? Int a, so you are creating a placeholder a which can store int, which can store integer constant. So only integer constant can be stored inside a, is all that it means. So a is a house in a big RAM or in a big building that's holding a place for integer. What integer you want to store, right, is a next step. So if you want to store 10, you just say a equal to 10. So I say I want to store 10 inside a. Well, later you may change your mind and say, no, I don't want to store 10, I want to store 20 inside a. That's just fine. You just have a space that you have holded. You are going to store 20 inside a. Now what happens is 10 gets overwritten. So this is a point, right? Overwritten. 10 gets overwritten to 20. 10 gets overwritten to 20 because you have reinitialized the variable. Actually this is called as, so first you put 10, that's the initialization. Then you put 20, you have reinitialized it. So 10 got overwritten and 20 got in. You can initialize a variable as many number of times as you want. Just keep in mind that each time you initialize a variable, right, the variable will get overwritten because you just have limited space in memory, right? Declaration, on the other hand, is creation of a variable. So here you have created a variable and that's just one time. So you one time create a variable and then keep initializing it as many number of times as you want. So working with variables is a 2-step process. Declare it, that's reserve the space, and then initialize it, that's keep on putting values. A equal to 10, 10 goes in a. After some time, a equal to 20, 10 gets lost and 20 goes in a. It's like overwriting the same value because you have limited space. Let's go next. Take another example of a floating point variable. We saw floating point constants, right? Floating point constants are numbers with decimal point. Again, you have a RAM and you want to store a number with the decimal point. Well, you can do declaration and initialization at the same time. So look at this statement. It declares B and then it also initializes B to 12.5. Look at this, the next statement. It declares rat and also initializes it with a number. Wow, so it declares rat and then also initializes it with a number. What's that? 1668.99. So declaration is like holding space in a big RAM. Initialization is putting values inside that RAM. What you can also do is keep reinitializing the variable. So the moment you reinitialize rat to minus 33.21, you are overwriting rat, but you are not overwriting b. So when you overwrite rat becomes 33.21. So what are the values? The values are stored in memory. These values are constants, but these values are values of a variable, and a variable can change values. So value of b is 12.5, value of rat is 33.21. Each time you reinitialize a variable, you are actually overwriting a variable. The previous value is lost. Well, similarly, you can have a character variable. A character C, and stores a single quote A. Look at this. And then C can get overwritten with $. Yeah, this is just for the syntax, right? This is a repetition, but just for syntax, right? You have declaration and initialization. So working with variables is a two-step process. One, declare, it's one time, and two, initialize a variable. You can do this multiple times. Okay, so here we understand variables. Before we understood constants. Let's go to the third rule, right? The third rule of a language is functions. What are functions? Well, remember that we are writing a software, right? End of the day we are writing a software by getting requirements from the boss. Function is something that takes multiple arguments, and arguments are nothing but inputs, and going to give you one value that's called as return value at output. Clearly, you can just have one return value, that's one output, but you can have many inputs that are many arguments. A function will perform any operation that you want. For example, addition of two numbers. You pass 10 and 20 as arguments or inputs. Function performs the addition and returns a value, that is addition of two numbers, that's 30. Well, addition is a basic example, right? But actually you have two types of functions. One is built-in functions that C offers. So you can just use that function. You can just use a built-in function to get a job done. Or you can create your own function like we talked about addition. Those are programmer-defined functions or user-defined functions. For now, it's sufficient to understand, right? C has a built-in function that you can use. You can just call the built-in function saying, hey, I want this function, I want to do this job, and I know that this function exists, I will just call it. Or a user-defined function, oh, you have to do some job for which there is no predefined or a built-in function, then you create your own function, right? Then that is a user-defined function. In this subject, we will keep learning and talking about this, creating different types of functions or understanding different built-in functions, right? One of the built-in functions that I want to talk about, now this is a built-in function, which is printf. It's used to print something on computer screen. Look at this. The printf is taking one argument, and that argument is hello students. I have just passed hello students. This is called as call to printf. Yeah, it's case sensitive call, right? The function name should be exactly as what is said by C. Printf, so printf. Hello students is the name, like hello student is the argument to the function, and printf is the name to the function, right? And I've passed this hello student. So what happens? On a computer screen, hello student gets printed. That message gets printed on the screen. So this is what you see on the screen. Let's take another example, right? Printf, let's look at these two statements. Int a is equal to 10, right? So when a is 10, printf, now I write printf value is a. Oh, look at this. On screen what you see is value is a. You don't see value is 10, right? Because printf is not intelligent. What it will do is whatever is like typed, it will print that as it is on the screen. So you're expecting that it should print value is 10, right? But its printing value is a, because whatever argument that you type, it will print it as it is on the screen. So it has printed a. I don't want that. What I want is, I want something like this: value is 10. For this to happen, all you got to do is you need a placeholder. You need a placeholder like %d. So now what you're doing is you are passing a message, value is %d, and you're not saying value is a, right? And that's your first argument. Then in your second argument, you're saying comma a, right? Arguments are comma separated, right? So in your second argument, you're saying comma a, which means and makes printf understand that that %d should be replaced by the value of a, and hence you get value is 10 at the output, because these two arguments result into this one output. So you can relate that function takes multiple arguments, in this case 2, a message and a value to be substituted within the message, and gives one output. That's a nice and cleaner message. %d is a placeholder for int type variables, right? If you want to have a floating variable, say float variable b equal to 10.5, you have a float variable b equal to 10.5 and you want to print it. So you can have a printf, right, with a message, hey, another value is, but for b you will have %f. So this will print another value is 10.5, because value of b is substituted against %f. All you need to know is %f, right? Sorry, %f is for floats, whereas %d is for ints. These are like specifics to printf though, but these are called as placeholders. They hold a place within a message so that the value of variable can be substituted later on in that message. So you get, hey, another value is 10.25. Let's take another example. I have two variables, int a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. What I want to print, look at the message that I want to print. Look at only this part. I want to print addition of 10 and 20 is 30. Well, 10 is nothing but value of a, 20 is nothing but value of b, and 30 is nothing but value of a plus b. Correct? Yes. So let's understand the fixed part of the messages. Addition of. So addition of. Well, 10 is not the fixed part of the message but an integer value, so %d. And is a fixed part of the message, so and. 20 is not a fixed part of the message, so again a %d. Is a fixed part of the message, so is. 30 is not the fixed part of the message, so not %d. So what I did is, wherever I want to put some integer constants, I put %d, 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 and now I have completed my message. because I have completed my message and I have three placeholders or three specifiers, percentage d and percentage d, I need three computations. So and this is left to right associative, left to right. Leftmost variable here will get populated with the leftmost percentage d here. The next leftmost gets populated here, that's 20, that's b. A plus b, that's the third leftmost, gets populated as third percentage d. So first percentage d a, then comma, second percentage d b, then comma, third percentage d a plus b, and then comma. So you get addition of 10 and 20 is 30. You get this on the screen, but for that you have to code this. That's coding. Programmer knows how to code. Boss sees this as a result and pays the programmer. As simple as that. So now you have understood printf. Wow, that's great. Let's write the first C program, right? Actually, I never talked much about syntax, right? This I just want to ensure that I talk something about syntax, right? Now, there are many things that you will come to know as and when this subject progresses, right? However, I will just write the first C program to close this first video, right? This is something fixed. You have to write as a first line when you write a program. And the programmer you hired knows these rules. He knows how to write a C program. That's why you hired the programmer. So programmer will write the first line, this hash include stdio.h. Oh, it's stdio.h. If you write studio.h, then it will give an error. So you have to write hash include stdio.h. Then void main, right? That is another line that you have to write. This is an open program. This is a closed program. So everything that you write has to be within this. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. These 4 lines have to be there in any C program, right? I will explain what they mean in the later parts of the course, but at this moment, right? And then at this moment, we just have to remember we don't have much choice, right? And then here is the instruction that you want to write. So this is the instruction. So when you type this instruction and run this program, you will get this kind of an output. Hello students. Hello students is the output, right? That you will get. Well, if you have a Turbo C editor, then you got to do something special. So instead of writing one statement, you got to write 2 statements. Oh, error. You cannot mistype things. You have to be very careful when you type. stdio.h, not studio.h. Hash include stdio.h. Hash include conio.h. Now this is when you are using only a Turbo C editor. So that's a Turbo C handling. So in Turbo C handling, you have to include 2 things. stdio.h, you have to include hash include conio.h. Then void main, open program, close program. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's not set. You should also include one more line, get ch. Every statement, so this is also a statement that ends with a semicolon. So now with a Turbo C editor, you got to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional statements to just give one instruction, and that instruction is printf. Yeah, I realize, right, you don't know about the other statements. Like, yeah, that's my job. I will have to explain them in the later parts of this course. But all you know at this moment is printf. And to get this printf work, you have to write so many other statements. Hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h, void main, open curly bracket, the instruction that you know, get ch, open close brackets and semicolon, and then a curly bracket. All this you have to write to make that printf work and print hello students on computer screen. In the next part of the video, I will explain what all this really means. This is just to give you an overview, right? This is how the program looks like. Before I end the first video, I would like to introduce you to the book. So this is a textbook for the subject, the program Computer Programming with C++ by Cambridge University Press, written by me. I encourage you to refer this textbook for C as well as C++. Chapters 1 to 9 cover C language. If you want to only study C programming, you have to read these chapters. I will tell you the exact page numbers that you have to read from this book. It has a lot of solved examples. And here is the Amazon link to buy that book. So it's available on Amazon. Computer Programming with C++. Kunal Pimperkhede is all that you need, and this course makes you expert of the subject. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video. Goodbye.